So I titled this particular live, Reckless Young Men, as it was the thing that caught my eye as I got started. There's a troop of young men, about 8 of them, traipsing around and around, making clamor and noise and drawing attention to themselves as they go. Well, it's beginning to get a little bit wet. Let's move. So the reckless young men in their living machines, wandering about, making a commotion. For what better reason than just because they can on a Saturday night. Oh, this is a nice place. We'll sit here for just a little bit. Greetings. I hope all is well. It's a lovely Saturday night here, or Sunday morning where you are, Simon. How are things in Belgium? Do you eat Belgian waffles on a Sunday morning there? Had to ask, right? Is it dark now? Are you up that early, Simon? Hello, Randy. Good evening. Well, let's see. Today was a good day. So I got up really early and took my wife's car. Well, first I took the dogs out, did the usual stuff, did the good life, then took Yumiko's car out and washed it, and came back, and Yumiko and I then went out and spent the day in San Clemente. We rode the motorcycle actually together. We went there to visit a student of mine, my driving student, who works at a tea shop there, and we had a lovely San Clemente confections of tea. I guess confection's not the right word. Concoction. It was really good. And then we had lunch. Then we rode the motorcycle back all the way up through San Clemente, up along PCH to Dana Point, and then up through Dana Point all the way up to Laguna Beach. And then we came home and we went shopping after that, and we went to the new Amazon Fresh store, which is, I think it's one of 2 kind of experimental shopping venues that Amazon has got going on here in the Los Angeles area. And it's interesting. It's basically, they have these smart shopping carts, where you traipse along and you pick an item off the shelf and you drop it in, and the cart knows what it is. The scanners are going, and it goes in, and it beep, and it's got a screen on there, and you can see it check out. It's like you're checking out as you shop. And then the whole thing on the bottom is weighted, so or has a scale. So as you're dropping things in, for example, if you grab a lemon, right, and you drop it in, and it's by the pound, then you can add a couple of lemons, and it'll know what the weight is. The lemon's not a good example, because that would be by the unit, right? So if it was an item like, maybe potatoes are by the pound or something like that. Anyway, it all went nice and fine. Yumiko and Emily and I did our shopping, meandered up and down through the Amazon Fresh store, having fun putting things in, getting it all right. And then when we went up to check out, which was nothing more than simply walking up and delivering our smart cart to an attendant and lift our bags out, because it's connected to the card somehow, and we would pay and just walk out. Just as we did that, the whole screen went blank, dark. The smart card's battery ran out, so we couldn't check out. So they have a backup, checking register. So they sent us over there, and they gave us I think it was, in the end, I think it turned out to be like a $15 credit for our trouble, right? They really felt bad about it. They kept on piling it on. They said first they're going to give us a $5 credit, and then it turned into a $10 credit, and then it turned into a $15. I think they were really embarrassed that happened, right? I mean, here's someone just went to the website from Rancho Cordova, California. Welcome. It was so funny. So we ended up getting a really nice, 2 big bags full of Amazon, Whole Foods quality materials for 25 bucks, right? I mean, it was a real bargain. Emily, but the problem was, in order to you had to like kind of get up to a certain level. I don't know how it all worked. Yumiko and Emily had it all figured out, but Emily had to keep running back down the aisles to get something to add to it to reach, a balance point where we could then trigger the big discount. It was funny stuff. No, Simon, we don't pay with cash. I don't really know how it worked. Yumiko all set it up. All I know is that Yumiko had to go into her phone, into the Amazon. I think it was connected to our Amazon account. She went into our Amazon app on the phone. She pushed Amazon Fresh, which brought up one of those, scanner code things. Looks like a black mess, like a Rorschach test. And she held that up. She walked up to the cart, held that to the cart, and the cart suddenly knew who we were, and was able to then bill us to that account. It seemed to work well, except for the battery went out in the end. I will say though that where Amazon dropped the ball, I believe, in this. So this is a pretty big deal. I mean, big long line. It was quite a line to get in. A lot of people wanted to go out there and do that. I saw a lot of people vlogging, with their cameras and stuff like that. And apparently there's only 2 of these in the greater Los Angeles area. One here in Irvine and one in Los Angeles. The thing that they missed the mark on was, have you ever been to a Whole Foods? Whole Foods leads with the quality of the shopping experience. Whole Foods is really an amazing, astonishing place, just as Trader Joe's is an astonishing place in its own way. Trader Joe's is more astonishing in terms of being eclectic and hippie and hip and all that kind of stuff. Whole Foods is just astonishing. It's like everything that a supermarket could be 10 years from now, already here today in terms of quality and quantity and diversity and the whole experience. Not to mention that the clientele that seem to shop there are kind of a breed of their own, right? Yumiko and I tend to not do all of our shopping there. We have particular things that we like, and we're lucky that we have a Whole Foods, within just a couple of blocks of us. So we go there on Saturdays typically to get particular types of things. We like the sourdough bread from Whole Foods. We like the waters, the canned waters that they've got there. Yumiko likes the eggs that we can get at the Whole Foods, the rain-free eggs, keeping the chickens happy, and a few other things. Oh, and they've got good vegan options, right? If we want, because we're vegans. So they've got they've got the Miyoko's vegan butter, which is really phenomenal. It's good stuff. Plus they've got vegan, there's a couple of the vegan products. But anyway, Amazon already owns Whole Foods. What they did for this Amazon Fresh thing, though, was that they bought or rented a facility. It's in here in the Marketplace in Irvine. It's called the Marketplace. It's a nice place. It's a ginormous shopping mall where you have to drive everywhere because it's so big. They got a corner unit there, and if you're familiar with the United States, have you ever been to a Smart & Final, where Smart & Final kind of feels like a warehouse type of store, kind of like a Costco in a way, but not with the bulk items, but they did that. And so this Amazon Fresh place looks like they contrived, they kind of put it together. They said, okay, they wanted a venue where they could use these smart carts. And they just lined it with this, they pick, okay, there's a good spot, let's put in some shelves, let's put in some product, and we'll call it a day, right? I don't think I'll ever go back to that place. Simply because it was small and sparsely, compared to a Whole Foods or even a normal supermarket, it was sparsely populated with things. It was really just the shopping cart was the most interesting thing. So that begs the question, why didn't Amazon display this technology or introduce this technology into their existing venues of Whole Foods, right? There's a Whole Foods, I think there's several Whole Foods here in Irvine. Why didn't they just bring the shopping cart technology there so that they could already capture the clientele that was already established, make use of the inventory and the incredible infrastructure that they've already got, and then just add a new feature to that, which is the smart shopping cart experience. They didn't do that. So as a result, I probably won't go back there. Yumiko agrees. Just to have the experience of the shopping cart wasn't that big a deal. The other problem with it is that the shopping cart is limited. You can put 2 shopping bags inside, because it's what's normally the shopping cart space is taken up with all the infrastructure, the technology, the batteries, the cameras, the scanners, the screen thing, and it's not too heavy. You'll be surprised it's not that heavy. But you can only fit 2 bags in there, and you can't pile on stuff. So once those 2 bags are full, you're done. you have to leave. So you can't fill a whole shopping cart up. Not that we normally do, but you see what I mean. So what I imagine will happen is that Amazon will work out any kinks and bugs, better battery life. Maybe something that flashes that tells you the battery's about to go dead. And then they'll introduce the technology at Whole Foods. The other element of this that I might be missing is that Amazon may be playing a slightly different game with the Amazon Fresh than the Whole Foods. And now that I mention it out loud, it's obvious and apparent that that's the case. Because Amazon Fresh is the brand that Amazon uses for their home delivery, which currently they do via their Whole Foods infrastructure. So if you go to a Whole Foods now and you're trucking along with your cart, about every 3rd customer there is a gig economy person like me, like I do, filling out orders for online orders for Amazon Fresh. So the Amazon Fresh makes use of the infrastructure of Amazon Prime. Of Amazon Whole Foods. So you can tell, because you can always see them, because they've got their baskets and it's got this tin foil lining, the silver foil lining on the inside. So you can always tell those people. And right now they're doing things like with the pandemic, Whole Foods has shut down the dining areas that they have. And you can see all the Amazon Fresh people in there, the gig economy people, and they're packaging up the orders, getting ready to take it out to the car and go. I believe that what Amazon is intending to do with these Amazon Fresh stores is make those the infrastructure for the Amazon Fresh employees. So they're going to dispatch have those people fulfill orders from the Amazon Fresh establishments. Why they chose to introduce the smart carts there is another question altogether. But that would make sense why it's more like a warehouse type of thing, no nonsense, no frills, just the facts, ma'am. See if there's any questions. There are a couple. Cool backdrop. Isn't that nice? So this is actually, I mentioned in last night's video that the Irvine company has created numerous communities throughout Irvine. That's what the city of Irvine is. It's a whole bunch of master plan communities that the Irvine company has built. This one is called The Park. This is catty corner to where I live, the apartment complex where I live. This is also an apartment complex, but this one's called The Park, and it's showcase thing. Let me just walk over and show you guys. I wonder if I can flip the camera around. Can I? I can. So this is, isn't this pretty? It's like a little bandstand thing. So here's the park itself, which is very, very beautiful place. And they've got a, stop for a second and stand still. Beautiful little clock tower over there. And you can't see it right across the way. Well, maybe you can't. Le Cafe. The CEO of the Irvine company was in Europe, I think in Vienna, and found that cafe and bought it. I wonder if I can zoom in. Bought it wholesale. Can I zoom in? I can. And had it shipped to America and rebuilt here. And it's a coffee shop that serves this community. And it's ginormous, as you can see. All around the park are these apartment complexes, and each one of them has its own name and its own character, its own feel. It's very nice. There's shops and theater. There's a movie theater over there, kind of like a movie theater. You bring your own videos. You can rent it and go in and, it's like those movie theaters that the billionaires have. It's something like that. You can bring in with your own DVD or something like that and go in there and watch it with your family and friends and the like. So I walk the dogs through here sometimes. I already walked the dogs tonight, so I didn't bring them with me. It's also getting a little bit chilly. see what else there was. Da, 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 da. Oh, cool backdrop. Nope, muesli and marmalade sandwiches. Oh, okay, that's the thing in Brussels, huh? Simon says, I'm teaching my youngest son to drive, or rather just sitting in since he can pretty much drive anyway. Oh, really? No kidding. You know, I'm a driving instructor, so let me know if you need any, have any questions. Ha ha ha. Simon says, they had to wheel out the dusty old checkout lady. Yes, they did. Yep. Did you have to pay with cash? No, it was all electronic. So it's not Aldi then, whatever that is. What's Aldi? Mino says, hey, Kurt. Hey, Amino. Maddie says, I work at Whole Foods. Honestly, the best job I've had so far. Really? No kidding. It seems like a good place. People seem to be happy working there. I hear Amazon pays and treats their folks pretty good. Maddie, I agree with you. Oh, so I must be talking about my musings about Whole Foods and Amazon Fresh. Simon says, probably because if the battery runs out in this sparsy places, it's less damaging to the image. Oh, that's possible. Sparse, got it. You know, what exactly is Amazon Fresh about? How does it work? So Amazon Fresh is an extension of the Amazon app on my phone, or on anyone's phone, that you can shop. So you can simply you can go through and shop of this, that, and the other thing, and just push the button, and it shows up at your door in 2 hours, right? So it worked great. It's just phenomenal. I don't understand. I have to ask myself why I even go shopping anymore, right? I mean, I can do it literally all on Amazon. The thing you have to watch out for is, though, sometimes because it mixes up the Amazon Fresh and the Amazon normal stuff, right? So you can accidentally, buy a can of Bartlett pears that are going to get shipped from Des Moines, right? when there's an Amazon and there's a Whole Foods right down the street. So I'm going to read just a little bit from Going Alone before I head back, take my dogs out for one last walkie, and then go to bed. There we go. This is from the chapter The Path of Wildness. When I was 18, ideas flashed past my consciousness too fast and fleeting to catch or even properly apprehend. At 28, I squeezed them from my mind with crayons and loud music, raw, textured notions wholly adolescent and shaped like cliché. 38 allowed time for no such nonsense. 48 times finds the ideas returned, though now I am too tired and fed up to attempt to lead, and instead follow meekly wherever the sunlight moves, seeking warmth and thoughtful respite in whatever time remains. So you see, this is just a little snippet, like I explained last night, this piece right here. So it's just a little bit of something from my muse, and it relates to the Path of Wildness chapter, where by striking out into unknown territory, new life, new experience, and the like. And that is true. I had no ability to catch my ideas properly, or even to get a good look at them when I was 18. They were rapid fire. It was like trying to pick out all the individual lights of an exploding firework. Right? It was gone away, and before I even barely realized it had happened. At 28, I attempted to take control of the ideas through art. This was the first time I was living in Japan and trying to draw and write and squeeze from my mind interesting notions that I might capture. And I think for some extent I managed to do that to a small degree. I have several years worth of art that I've really never shared that are in boxes somewhere. And there's a few bits in there that I can see now were foretelling of what was to come. 38 allowed no time for such nonsense, right? 38, I was ramping up with fatherhood, work in earnest, all the responsibilities, no time for such things. 48, which when I wrote this, this was 8 years ago, 48 finds the ideas returned, though now I am too tired and fed up to attempt to lead. and instead follow meekly wherever the sunlight moves, seeking warmth and thoughtful respite in whatever time remains. I remember that. I remember 8 years ago being worn out, being wrung out, and it's like you just life just carry on without me, right? you know, raising a child can do that, right? It's hard work. Seeking after a career, failing at a job, failing at a business, starting to get old, tends to beat you down a little bit at times, and that's what was happening at 48. I would say now that's I'm mostly over that and reconciled to that reality and back on my feet, so to speak. Although now the failing is less about motivation and more about physical decline, which is fine and in keeping with the nature of the animal, and indeed in many ways welcome, right? I welcome the decline and the coming decrepitness and the failing of my memory, the failing of my faculties, the onset of decay. I don't relish any of the coming pain, but I find that the gathering clouds of coming death, whether it be 5 years, 10 years, next week, 20 years away, stimulating in terms of causing me to want to revel in this a little more, to make the best use of it and not take it for granted. Mino says, wow, technology is truly making us more and more lazy over time. Well, I guess it depends on what you do, right? I mean, maybe lazy, or maybe it simply frees us up to do other things, right? I mean, I could be sitting on my couch right now, but I chose to put on a nice shirt and come out and sit with you, right? So the technology gives me that opportunity. Bedtime stories, yeah, Simon. Mino, love your book, it's great. Oh, thank you, Mino. Simon says, I'm at the too tired stage 2. Yes. Well, so says the 3-year-old dude. It's one of the 3-year-old dudes. Mino, the more no's we get, the closer to a yes we become. The more no's we get, the closer to a yes we become. Maybe are we just playing the odds there, right? Can we tolerate the no's? How many no's can we tolerate before we give up? Simon, okay, cheerio and sleep well. Take care, Simon. And I think I'm going to sign off too and go back and saddle up my dogs for one last walk around the block, and then I'll go to bed too. Got a day of work tomorrow, even though it's Sunday. Got to teach those young'uns to drive. So take care, everybody. Remember, be safe, but not too safe.